Alrighty, folks, let's all head out this way here.
This one is the front of the Saxman. Ito yung
So we're going to be end up
dito.
splitting up into two groups, but for now, let's head down into the park here. I'm trying to remember the driver guy's names.
225. Okay, 225.
225. I think you're Anthony, yes.
That's Randy.
I'm with 201.
I'm with Randy and Corey. If you guys are with Randy or Corey, you guys are going to hang out with me. If you guys are not, you're going to be hanging out with my mother.
I don't remember the
You! Come here.
Ito na yung Saxman Village. So ito yung parking area. Tour guide, yung bus nandito. Malaki din yung park. So ito na yung mga tourists. Pila tayo. Papunta tayo dito yung Saxman Village ng Alaska.
Standing here because a lot of them don't like outdoors. But there is a chance you can see variety of wildlife, like here, bears, what else? No, there's not that many. There are wolves, goats, squirrels, of course, otters. I think that's all that's standing. Get up over here. Are any folks over here in the Daniels or Michelle's group? No?
Ito yung Saxman Village. Parang ito yung pinaka-native people here in Alaska. Ito yung bahay nila. Ito yung mga tourist dito. Ito yung mga turista na nandito. Napakarami. Bisita. Ito yung mga totem posts. Yan.
It's starting to look like most of our people are showing up here. So why don't we go ahead and get started? So this here is what's known as the cotton bear pole or the cotton bloom pole, depending on
Ito
who
yung
you ask. Now this here is the story of a man named Cox.
so, napakaganda kasi pagpan sila sa dito yung sa
Whole hunting party, and while he's out there, he gets a feeling in his gut. He thinks that he knows where a deer is. So he darts off in one direction, and while he's going, since he's the fastest runner, he ends up losing the rest of his hunting party. Now, while he's out there, he ends up getting a little bit lost. And then eventually he stumbles upon a bear's cave. So when he sees this cave, he thinks, I'm the best, strongest hunter there is. So I'm going to go in that cave and get this bear all by myself. So what he does, yes, got you. So what he does is he ends up going into that cave. And right when he goes into that cave, he trips on a rock, hits his head, and knocks himself unconscious. Now a couple hours later, he does wake back up. And when he wakes up, he awakes to the most beautiful woman he has ever seen. She is absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. Now in that moment, he decides he's going to marry this woman and live the rest of his life in that cave forever. Now, the funny thing about this woman is not a woman at all. She is what's known as a spirit bear. Now spirit bears have the ability to change themselves into whatever they see fit. So what she ended up doing is she came back to her cave and she noticed Kot's laying there unconscious. And she looks at him, she knows exactly who he is. The best, strongest person there is, suitable for her. So what she does is she changes herself into the most beautiful woman she can think of to try and swoon Kots. And as you guys can tell, it worked. So, a couple years down the road, a whole bunch of stuff ends up happening, and they end up having 3 little bear cubs. You see on the poles there. Now one day he goes out to go provide for his family. Go get some food for his 3 little bear cubs. And while he's out, he ends up stumbling upon one of the people from his old village. They're like, oh my gosh, Kots, you're still alive. Please come back to us. Come live with us again. We miss you. And Kot says, no, I can't. I have my own family now I have to take care of. And he keeps on trying to convince Kots, but it's just not working. So eventually he gives up on that and he's like, fine. Will you at least let us throw a potlatch for you? Now what a potlatch is it's a very large party that could last anywhere from 2 days to 2 weeks long. Now at this party, the host would provide enough food for everybody who came to eat until their bellies are full. Now also at this party, the host would bring a gift for everybody who came. And in return, in Tlingit culture, when you are given a gift, you are always meant to give one in return. Now back to Kots here. Now when he hears this, he's like, fine. He says one thing, like any good man should. He says, let me go ask my wife. So he goes home, asks his wife, and she says, yes, that is just fine. But I do have one rule. You are not allowed to lay a single eye on your previous wife. He's like, all right, fine, agrees to it. A couple days later, he goes to the old village. He's trying his hardest to not see his past wife. Now while he's there, he has a great time. Eats a lot of food, gives a bunch of gifts, gives out a bunch of gifts. Just a great time all around. Now the party was coming to an end, and he was packing up all of his things, getting ready to go. He puts it over his shoulder and starts walking through the woods, back to his cave. But what he doesn't realize is his previous wife was hiding in a bush right in front of him. So what she ends up a glimpse of her, instantly covers his eyes and runs off into the woods as fast as he can to go tell his wife what he had done. Now we don't know exactly what, but there are many things in this forest that are much faster than humans. So something beat him back and told his wife what he did. Now when the she-bear heard this, she wasn't exactly mad. She was understanding because she knows he did not do this on purpose. But what she decided, she was going to act like she was mad at him. So what she ended up doing is when he got back, he, got all mad at him, maybe roughed him up a little bit, but no serious harm done. But the 3 little bear cubs saw this, and they thought that their mother was actually mad at their father. So later on that night, what they ended up doing is dragging their father up and into the woods and ended up killing him. Now, the 3 bear cubs went back to their mother in the morning and told them what they had done. And she was very angry, very distraught by this news, because she was not actually mad at Kots. So what she ended up doing is kicking 3 little bear cubs out of the cave and told them to never come back again. Now the first of those 3 bear cubs, the oldest of them all, he ended up traveling up north. So far so in fact, to the point that his fur had started to turn white. And he'd become what's known as the polar bear. Now the second of those 3 bears, he ended up going down south, maybe a little bit to the east side of things, and his fur had started to turn brown. And he'd become what's known as the brown bear, or the Kodiak bear. Now the last of the 3 brothers, the youngest, the baby, and the mother's favorite, he was allowed to stay around this area here, so his coat never changed color. And he stayed what's known as the black bear. Now, these bears did have a couple of cousins. So first of those cousins, he ended up wandering off, found himself inside of a candy factory. Now while he's in there, he falls onto a conveyor belt, gets processed through, and he comes out what's known as the gummy bear. Now the second of those cousins, he ends up wandering off, he finds himself inside of a toy factory. Now he did the same thing as his other cousin, he fell onto that conveyor belt, got processed through, and he came out what's known as the teddy bear. Now that there's the Cub Bear story full.
Ayan.
Nice. Do any of you guys know who that is?
Bought Alaska from Russia.
That is correct. He is the Secretary of State who purchased Alaska for 2 cents an acre. Now, this here was originally put up as an honor pole to honor William Seward because he had helped us by purchasing Alaska from the Russians, who were not exactly very nice to us. Now, when he did this, he came here and we threw him potlatches. You guys all remember what that is? Yeah. We threw him potlatches. Now, if you look at his hat there, that there is what's known as a potlatch hat. And each ring on it represents one potlatch that was thrown for him. So for 4 rings, there were 4 potlatches. Now, remember how I said before, when you're given a gift, you're always meant to give one in return? The same as with the potlatch. When you have one thrown for you, you're always meant to throw one back to the person or people who threw one for you. Now, we don't know if it was lost in translation or he just didn't want to do it, but for every single gift we gave him and every potlatch we threw him, he had never returned a single one. So, after a good bit of time, when he left the last time and did not come back, we climbed up to the top of that pole there, painted his nose and his ears red, now turning it into a shame pole, shaming William Seward for taking our kindness for granted. Now, there's a little funny part about this pole here. We actually had William Seward's great-grandson come on the exact same tour you guys are on today. And when we told him the story about this pole, he was downright furious. He said, "I want this pole taken down now." We're like, "All right, we'll take it down for you, as long as you pay us back every single dollar he had taken from us." He's like, "All right, how much is it?" So we go down to the store there, calculate it out, came out to roughly $2.2 million. So he did the same thing as his great-grandfather, got right back on a ship, left, and never came back. Alrighty. So, if you guys want to learn more about the totem pole stories, feel free to come back here to me at your free time, and I'll be more than happy to tell you some more. But with that, we're going to be heading into that small building right over there.